personne ne savait que c'était elle, personne ne l'avait reconnue. Donc moi quand je me suis approché, voilà, c'était une personne blonde qui était assise au sol, qui reprenait conscience à ce moment-là.
What were Princess Diana's final words? For more than 2 decades, the firefighters who heard them remained silent. Xavier Gourmelon, the man who witnessed the final moments of one of the most beloved figures in history, is finally breaking his silence. His revelation could change everything we thought we knew about that tragic night in Paris. Why did he keep this secret for so long? What could his words reveal about the heartbreaking end of the Princess of Wales? This is more than just a story. It's an untold truth that will leave you questioning everything. But before we unveil the shocking revelation, let's revisit that tragic night and what led to this moment of truth. The night of August 31, 1997 began like any other for Xavier Gourmelon, a dedicated firefighter on duty in Paris. But a single emergency call changed everything. The call was urgent, an accident at the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Without wasting a second, Xavier and his team raced through the quiet streets, unaware that they were about to witness a tragedy that would be etched in history forever. As the fire truck screeched to a halt, the scene before them was horrifying. A black Mercedes-Benz was mangled beyond recognition, its front crushed against the tunnel pillar. The headlights flickered weakly, casting an eerie glow over the twisted metal and scattered debris. The air was thick with tension as onlookers gathered, their faces frozen in shock. Xavier and his team sprang into action. Every second mattered. As they approached the wreckage, the sound of sirens echoed through the tunnel, blending with the muffled cries for help. Inside the car, chaos reigned. The driver, Henri Paul, was motionless. Dodi Fayed, the son of a billionaire, showed no signs of life. But then, something caught Xavier's eye, a faint movement in the back seat. Amidst the wreckage, a blonde woman was still breathing. Her eyes fluttered open, filled with pain and confusion. She was barely conscious, but she was alive. Xavier's training kicked in. He fought through the tangled metal, carefully freeing the woman from the wreckage. She was fragile, her body battered but stable. As he laid her down gently, her lips moved. It was faint, almost a whisper. Xavier leaned in, trying to catch her words. He didn't know it then, but those words would haunt him for the next 20 years. At that moment, Xavier had no idea who she was. To him, she was just another victim who needed his help. His only goal was to keep her alive until they reached the hospital. He gave her oxygen, checked her pulse, and reassured her in his calm, professional manner. But despite his efforts, something felt off. There was an unspoken weight in the air, a sense that this wasn't just another accident. The realization struck him later when a paramedic whispered the name that sent chills down his spine. Princess Diana, the Princess of Wales. Xavier's heart sank. The woman he had just tried to save was not just any passenger. She was a global icon, a beloved princess, and now a victim of a tragic accident. His mind raced with questions. How could this happen? Why here in this dark tunnel? And most importantly, what did her final words mean? Xavier's hands trembled as he recalled the moment. Her whispered words, though simple, carried an overwhelming weight. What did they reveal? Did they hold a hidden message? For years, Xavier kept this secret locked away, battling with his conscience. Now, after decades of silence, he is ready to share the truth. What exactly did Diana say, and why did Xavier keep it a secret for so long? In the chaotic moments following the crash, amidst flashing lights and frantic efforts to save lives, Princess Diana uttered her final words. "My God, what's happened?" Those 5 words, soft yet filled with confusion and fear, have echoed in Xavier Gourmelon's mind for over 2 decades. As a firefighter trained to handle emergencies, Xavier was accustomed to tragic scenes. But this was different. Those words were not just from any victim, they were from a woman beloved by millions. At the time, he didn't know their significance. But once he learned who she was, those words became a burden he carried in silence. Xavier's decision to remain silent wasn't easy. The weight of Diana's death was felt worldwide, with countless stories, speculations, and theories circulating endlessly. Yet, he kept her final words locked away, out of respect for the princess and the immense grief her death caused. Every time he saw her image on television or heard her name, those words played in his mind. My God, what happened? It wasn't just a question, it was a reflection of the sudden, cruel twist of fate that took her life. Xavier believed that sharing those words then would have only fueled more media frenzy, more headlines, and more pain for her family. especially her young sons, William and Harry. He chose silence, believing it was the right thing to do. But time has a way of reshaping perspectives. Years passed, and the burden of holding on to those final words grew heavier. Xavier wrestled with his conscience, questioning if keeping the secret was truly the right choice. The world had moved on, but the questions surrounding Diana's death never faded. Rumors of conspiracy, whispers of foul play, and endless speculation continued to cloud the truth. Xavier began to wonder, could her final words provide clarity? Could they offer some peace, even after all these years? The turning point came when he realized that the world deserved to know the truth, not through sensational headlines, but from someone who was there. Someone who held her hand in her final moments. His respect for Diana never wavered, but his silence began to feel like a disservice to her memory. When Xavier finally decided to break his silence, it wasn't for fame or attention, it was to honor Diana. Her final words, though simple, held a profound implication. They painted a picture of a woman who, even in her last moments, was trying to comprehend the tragedy unfolding around her. They contradicted wild theories that claimed she was unconscious or unaware after the crash. Diana was conscious, aware, and fighting for her life. Xavier's revelation doesn't just add a new layer to the story, it challenges the official narrative that many had accepted for years. But who was Princess Diana beyond the headlines? Let's step back to understand the woman the world mourned. Before she became the Princess of Wales, Diana Spencer lived a life marked by privilege, but also simplicity. Born into the aristocratic Spencer family, Diana's early years were spent in the grand yet modest setting of Park House, close to the Sandringham estate. Her family had deep ties to the British royal family, making her familiar with the customs and traditions that governed the monarchy. Yet, no one could have predicted that this shy, kind-hearted girl would one day become the most famous woman in the world. Diana's childhood was marked by the painful divorce of her parents, which left a lasting impact on her. Despite the challenges, she grew up with a sense of compassion and empathy that would later define her legacy. Diana's path to royalty began when she crossed paths with Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne. At the time, Charles was dating her older sister, Sarah, but it was Diana's gentle charm that caught his attention. Their relationship blossomed quickly, capturing the public's imagination. The media frenzy began long before the wedding, with every detail of their courtship making headlines. When their engagement was announced, Diana became an instant sensation. The world watched as the shy 19-year-old nursery assistant transformed into a poised young woman ready to step into the royal spotlight. On July 29, 1981, the world held its breath as Diana walked down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral in a fairy tale wedding that seemed almost too perfect to be real. Over 750 million people watched the ceremony, enchanted by Diana's beauty and the promise of a new chapter in the British monarchy. She became the people's princess, adored for her warmth, kindness, and relatable nature. But behind the smiles and the glamorous gowns, Diana's life as a royal was far from the dream many believed it to be. The pressure to conform to the strict protocols of the royal family weighed heavily on her. The constant scrutiny from the media made every move feel like a performance. Diana struggled with the expectations placed upon her, feeling isolated and overwhelmed, despite being surrounded by wealth and privilege. Her marriage to Prince Charles, which seemed like a fairy tale, began to show cracks early on. The age gap, differing personalities, and Charles's lingering affection for Camilla Parker Bowles created a storm that Diana wasn't prepared for. She battled feelings of inadequacy and loneliness, all while maintaining a public image of grace and poise. The world saw her as a symbol of elegance, but few knew the internal struggles she faced. Diana's journey from a young aristocrat to a global icon was filled with moments of joy, pain, and resilience. She wasn't just a princess, she was a woman navigating the harsh realities of love, duty, and public life. Yet, Diana's life was more than just royal duties. Her relationships reveal a side few knew. Princess Diana's love life was as captivating as it was complicated. Behind the regal image and royal titles was a woman searching for love, acceptance, and happiness. Her marriage to Prince Charles was supposed to be the fairy tale every young girl dreamed of, but it quickly turned into a painful reality filled with betrayal and heartbreak. As her marriage crumbled, Diana found comfort in relationships that were far from the royal spotlight, each adding a new layer to the story of the most photographed woman in the world. One of Diana's earliest rumored romances was with her bodyguard, Barry Manicky. Though never officially confirmed, whispers of their close bond spread quickly. His sudden death in a motorcycle accident fueled speculation, with many believing it was more than just a tragic accident. Diana's vulnerability and longing for genuine connection made her susceptible to finding solace in those who offered her protection and care. But the most well-known love of her life came years later when she met Dr. Hasnat Khan, a British-Pakistani heart surgeon. Their relationship, kept mostly out of the public eye, was described by Diana as the most profound love she had ever experienced. She admired his intelligence, humility, and dedication to his work. Diana even considered moving to Pakistan to be with him, but the relentless media attention made it impossible for their love to survive. Then came Dodi Fayed, the son of billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. Their whirlwind romance was brief but intense. The couple was constantly hounded by paparazzi, with every moment of their time together splashed across tabloids. From yacht vacations to intimate dinners, Diana and Dodi became the obsession of the media. For Diana, Dodi represented freedom, a break from the confines of royal life and the pain of her past relationships. For Dodi, Diana was the ultimate love, someone he was willing to give everything for. Their relationship was controversial, not just because of the media frenzy, but also because of the cultural and social implications it carried within British circles. The scrutiny Diana faced in her relationships was relentless. Every smile, every gesture, and every moment of vulnerability was captured and dissected by the press. She lived in a constant state of surveillance, where love felt like a luxury she could never fully enjoy. The more she tried to find happiness, the more the world seemed determined to invade her privacy. Her relationship with Dodi was no different. The media's pursuit of the couple reached its peak during their final days in France, where photographers followed them relentlessly, desperate for the perfect shot. Diana's love life was a tapestry of passion, heartbreak, and longing. She was not just a princess trapped in a loveless marriage, but a woman yearning for genuine connection in a world that refused to give her peace. Her relationships, each unique and significant, painted a picture of someone who, despite her global fame, was simply searching for love. But it was the events of that one night in Paris that sealed her fate forever. The night of August 31, 1997, remains one of the most haunting in modern history. What started as a quiet evening for Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed turned into a tragic event that left the world in shock. The couple, attempting to escape the relentless paparazzi, left the Ritz Hotel in Paris shortly after midnight, with Henri Paul, the hotel's deputy head of security, behind the wheel, and bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones in the front seat. They sped off into the night, hoping to evade the flashing cameras that had followed them relentlessly. What followed was a high-speed chase through the streets of Paris that would end in devastation. As the black Mercedes-Benz approached the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, Henri Paul lost control. The car, moving at an alarming speed, collided with the tunnel's 13th pillar with a force so intense that the vehicle crumpled almost instantly. The screech of metal against concrete echoed through the tunnel, and within moments silence followed, broken only by the distant sounds of sirens racing to the scene. Paparazzi, who had been trailing the car, arrived within seconds, not to help but to capture the wreckage through their lenses. The flashing cameras documented every painful detail, even as lives hung in the balance. When Xavier Gourmelon and his team arrived, the scene was chaotic. The car was barely recognizable, its front end crushed, glass shattered everywhere, and debris scattered across the road. The first thing Xavier noticed was the eerie stillness inside the vehicle. Henri Paul was lifeless, Dodi Fayed showed no signs of survival, and Trevor Rees-Jones was barely conscious, his face severely injured. But then, amidst the devastation, Xavier saw her, a blonde woman, still breathing, still fighting. Unbeknownst to him, this was Princess Diana. He worked quickly, battling against time and chaos, to free her from the wreckage. The paparazzi stood nearby, cameras clicking away, even as Xavier and his team fought to save lives. The pressure was immense, the scene overwhelming. Every decision, every movement mattered. Xavier later described the crash scene as one of the most challenging he had ever faced, not because of the physical damage, but because of the weight of the moment. The questions began almost immediately. How did this happen? Was it simply a tragic accident, or were there other factors at play? Many pointed fingers at the paparazzi, blaming their relentless pursuit for the crash. Others questioned the actions of Henri Paul, who was later found to have been under the influence of alcohol and prescription drugs. But the real question that lingered in everyone's mind was whether this tragedy could have been prevented. As the investigation unfolded, the world watched closely, desperate for answers. The high-speed chase, the role of the paparazzi, and the condition of the driver all became points of debate. But amidst all the chaos and speculation, one question continued to haunt everyone who followed the story. Yet one question remains unanswered. Could Diana have been saved? Xavier Gourmelon's testimony brought a new perspective to the tragic night that claimed Princess Diana's life. For years, the world believed that the crash had left Diana with fatal injuries from the start, making her survival impossible. But Xavier's revelation challenged this narrative. According to him, when he reached Diana, she was conscious, responsive, and stable enough to give him hope. He performed basic first aid, providing her with oxygen and ensuring her airway remained clear. In those critical moments, he believed she would survive. There were no visible severe injuries and no heavy bleeding. To him, she was just another accident victim who needed urgent medical attention, not someone on the brink of death. What haunted Xavier most was the realization that Diana's condition deteriorated after leaving the scene. He revealed that while she had suffered internal injuries, she was stable when the ambulance departed for the hospital. Xavier's words sparked debates worldwide. Could more have been done? Was her death preventable? Medical experts weighed in, suggesting that the delay in getting Diana to the hospital might have cost her life. French emergency services at the time prioritized stabilizing patients at the scene before transporting them, unlike the British system, which focused on rapid hospital transfer. This difference in protocol became a focal point of controversy. Xavier's account of performing CPR when Diana suffered a cardiac arrest while being transferred to the ambulance only added to the debate. He recalled how, after massaging her heart, she started breathing again. For a moment, hope flickered, but that hope was short-lived. Once at the hospital, doctors fought desperately to save her. Despite their efforts, the internal injuries, particularly a torn pulmonary vein, proved fatal. The realization that Diana's life might have been saved under different circumstances sparked anger, sadness, and endless questions. Could faster intervention have saved her? Was it the crash, the medical response, or sheer fate that sealed Diana's destiny? Xavier's belief that Diana's death was not inevitable shook many. His words painted a picture of a woman who, even in her final moments, showed strength and resilience. His testimony suggested that Diana's life hung in a delicate balance, one that could have tipped either way. This revelation fueled renewed debates, conspiracy theories, and what-ifs that still linger today. Many wondered if the intense media chase, the delayed response, or the decisions made during those critical minutes after the crash ultimately led to Diana's death. Xavier's account didn't just reopen old wounds, it forced the world to re-examine the tragedy from a new lens. As Xavier shared his story, the world listened in shock and disbelief. His words offered closure to some but left many others grappling with the unsettling possibility that Diana's death might have been avoided. Yet, amidst the debates and questions, one truth remained clear: Diana's story was far from over. As the world mourned, Diana's legacy only grew stronger with time. The news of Princess Diana's death sent shockwaves across the world. In the hours following the tragedy, an overwhelming sense of disbelief and sorrow spread through every corner of the globe. People gathered outside Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace, placing thousands of flowers, handwritten notes, and candles in honor of the woman they loved so deeply. Strangers hugged each other, tears streaming down their faces, united by grief for a princess who felt like one of their own. Diana's death was more than just the loss of a royal. It was the loss of a symbol of hope, kindness, and compassion. The world mourned as if they had lost a family member, and in many ways they had. On September 6, 1997, millions watched as Diana's funeral procession made its way through the streets of London. The sight of her coffin, draped in the royal standard and adorned with white flowers, brought silence to the massive crowds. The image of her young sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, walking behind their mother's coffin, remains one of the most heartbreaking moments in modern history. The pain in their eyes reflected the loss of not just a princess, but a mother. Elton John's performance of Candle in the Wind, rewritten in Diana's memory, echoed through Westminster Abbey, leaving no eye dry. The funeral was watched by over 2 billion people worldwide, a testament to Diana's immense impact. But Diana's legacy didn't end with her death. Her humanitarian work continues to inspire generations. She was more than just a princess. She was a voice for the voiceless. From raising awareness about HIV/AIDS when it was still heavily stigmatized, to campaigning against landmines, Diana used her platform to shine a light on causes that many overlooked. Her genuine compassion and willingness to connect with those suffering made her a beacon of hope. She held the hands of AIDS patients without hesitation, visited homeless shelters without cameras, and brought global attention to the horrors of war-torn regions. Diana's humanitarian spirit set a new standard for what it meant to be a member of the royal family. Her influence is most evident in her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry. Both have carried forward her legacy, dedicating their lives to charitable work. William's commitment to mental health awareness and Harry's efforts with wounded veterans mirror Diana's compassion and determination. They often speak of their mother's influence, crediting her with shaping their values and sense of duty. Diana's memory lives on through their work, their family, and their unwavering commitment to making the world a better place. Even today, Diana's legacy continues to resonate. She remains an enduring figure of love, resilience, and humanity. Her life, though short, left an indelible mark on the world. But amidst the flowers, tears, and tributes, one question still lingers in the minds of many. But, even as time passes, the mystery surrounding her final moments refuses to fade. Even after decades, the mystery surrounding Princess Diana's death refuses to fade. Xavier Gourmelon's revelation about Diana's final words has reignited questions that many thought were buried with her. My God, what's happened? Were these just words of confusion from a tragic accident, or did they hint at something more? Theories have swirled for years, with many believing that Diana's death was not just a tragic accident, but a consequence of something far more sinister. Xavier's testimony has added fuel to these theories, leading many to wonder if there is more to the story than what the world was told. Could Diana's final words be a clue to the moments before the crash? Was she aware of something that others missed? The high-speed chase by paparazzi has always been blamed as the primary cause, but questions remain about the driver, Henri Paul's state of mind, and the possibility of external influences. Was it simply an accident, or were there decisions made that night that could have changed everything? Xavier's account of Diana's stable condition at the crash site contrasts sharply with the outcome at the hospital. It raises an unsettling question. Could Diana have survived if circumstances had been different? The medical response that night has faced intense scrutiny over the years. French emergency protocols prioritized stabilizing patients on site, which delayed Diana's arrival at the hospital. Some experts argue that a faster transfer might have saved her, while others believe that her internal injuries were too severe. The uncertainty around this has left a lasting sense of frustration and helplessness for those who adored her. The delay, the decisions, and the missed chances all contribute to the lingering sense of mystery that shrouds her death. Xavier's decision to break his silence after so many years has reopened old wounds for many. His words have sparked new debates, with some seeing him as a hero for sharing the truth and others questioning why he waited so long. His revelation has led to renewed speculation about the crash, the response, and the chain of events that led to Diana's death. Could the tragedy have been avoided? Did someone fail her that night, or was it simply a cruel twist of fate that even the most dedicated efforts could not prevent? Theories continue to circulate, from claims of a planned assassination to suspicions about the royal family's involvement. While many of these theories remain unproven, the questions they raise keep Diana's death shrouded in intrigue. Every new piece of information, every untold story, adds another layer to the mystery. Xavier's testimony is the latest piece in this puzzle, one that forces the world to confront the possibility that the truth about Diana's death may never be fully known. As time passes, Diana's legacy remains intact, but the questions surrounding her final moments persist. Her story is one of love, loss, and unresolved mysteries. The world may have said goodbye to the people's princess, but her story continues to haunt, inspire, and provoke thought. Princess Diana's story remains one of love, tragedy, and mystery, a story that will never be forgotten. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.